Good evening and welcome to the Wisteria Witch's Cottage. Today we have a special guest on Fansview Fridays. Our guest is no other than Issac Alexander.
Good day and stuff to you, Ari, and stuff, and thank you for this opportunity to be here to talk about Kevin's memory as well as anime fandom in general, at least in my little corner here in the Pacific Northwest. Greatly appreciated, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I really love the Pacific Northwest. If it's like one of my dreams to like just perma move up there. I just love the trees, and I just one of these days I just want to like just live in a cottage and just kind of like talk to the animals, befriend critters of the forest, just kind of live my best Briar Rose life. But we're
Well,
not
it's
here to.
definitely cooler up here than it is your way.
Oh yeah, we've been getting some wicked humidity down here at the real OC. But anywho, we are here to talk about SakuraCon 2000. And Isaac, tell us about your history with SakuraCon, because I know you had like a lot of involvement with SakuraCon.
Yes, I did and stuff. So briefly, I attended the first two. I attended a planning meeting actually back in 1997, early 1997, for it in a store called the Anime Cafe that was held that was in a suburb of Tacoma, Washington, south of Seattle. And there was a group that was trying to plan a convention. I just didn't have the time to attend it to be a part of it, but I vowed and stuff to attend the convention once it was on operations. Well, fast forward to February 1998, and the first Baka Con, yes, idiot convention, if you translate into Japanese, was run, and it successfully ran had about 300, just over 300 people and stuff show up, so it was all good. From there, and then the second year, then I moved to Bellingham and was part of an anime club called Aya and stuff up there at Western Washington University, and then I was part of a bunch of clubs. The Bakugan leadership at the time was putting out, asking people for help because they desperately needed volunteers for the '99 convention, and I kind of became the unofficial communication to all the anime clubs in the Pacific Northwest, from British Columbia and Vancouver to Victoria, BC, then down the I-5 corridor and stuff, all the way down to Oregon, Portland and Eugene anime clubs there, as well as clubs in Spokane, Washington, to come to the '99 convention and stuff for it, and we all did. For it, and then I had 5 years and stuff on staff here, from my first year being I was three different positions for my first year and stuff, being on the convention: vice chair, dealers room coordinator, and guest coordinator. And then my second year I was the actual con chair itself. So, and then held positions in relations pretty much the rest of my last 2 years, 3 years and stuff after that. So I know these 5 years of 2000. Well, you could say 6 years of, because I started in spring of '99 and stuff with the convention. From there, and then last year and stuff was 04, and then I went into the Navy for kind of moved away and stuff in the Pacific Northwest, and had a new career and stuff for nearly 6 years living in the East Coast. So really enjoyed that. So it was quite a ride and stuff those 5 years, as well as anime. Just the general overview of how fandom was growing immensely here in North America. For it in terms of exposure on Cartoon Network, Toonami, as well as seeing it on anime on broadcast television more and more at that time, and then having seen the early things of moving away from making music videos on VHS tape decks and stuff to digital tools and stuff now to make it so much easier to do it. So it was just amazing stuff, seeing how the changes in organizing and operating the conventions and stuff at that time were changing so rapidly, and people just embracing the change. They just loved change and loved the chaos and stuff of it, and really embraced it. For it, when you get older, you like it's kind of like a certain way and stuff to do things, and you kind of stick with it. Whereas if you're young in the 20s, you kind of just take everything and you just you make it work, however crazy and stuff it appears and stuff with running. So. I very much enjoyed these 5 years, and it's very much I'm looking forward to just talking about my first year, going into the mayhem and stuff in operating the convention, because it is quite an ordeal, as anybody that's staffed a convention can definitely tell.
Oh, definitely. I also wanted to mention that Fansview Fridays, this is an almost weekly streaming series where we talk about a lot of conventions from the 90s and the 2000s through the eyes of Kevin Lillard. Kevin Lillard, he was a friend to the community, and he was just such an amazing person who had all these stories to tell in his reports. And when he passed, I remember the community was very sad for his loss because we lost an amazing person in the community. And with that, we also lost the Fansview website. And part of my goal with Fansview Fridays is to rescue his reports with the Thinks webarchive.org, which has preserved most of the photos and a lot of the texts that he has written about voice actors, announcements, convention vibes. And this is really a very detailed snapshot of what anime convention fandom looked like. Isaac, do you have any words you would like to say about Kevin?
Yeah, I kind of want to go back to, sounds grim, but I'd like to go back to his obituary for it that was released and stuff upon his passing. Kevin was was born in Lafayette, Indiana. So right, in the Great Lakes area and stuff in June 5th, 1955. He and his wife have left an amazing legacy for it. He had a good radio voice that he did for many years. He loved going through the fandom. I think his first Erie stuff was his first anime conventions that he got into fandom and stuff. Was it 97 or 98?
I want to say it was 98 according to what I've seen, but don't quote me on that. It was just sometime in the late 90s.
Yeah, it's right around that area and stuff that it was from that he got into that. But before he got into anime fandom, he was a long time auto racing reporter, photojournalist, as well as an announcer at one of the raceways there in Indiana for it. So he loved and stuff auto racing. He could tell so many stories and stuff. I caught some stories and stuff when he was talking about the Indianapolis 500. Of course, that is being the big event there that's held annually and stuff in Indiana for things. But he loved big events and stuff that doing that just brought people together to celebrate something. That and Kevin loved to write about that for things, write things in a positive direction, positive, optimistic outlook and stuff on things. And I wish I could, wish I had a chance to go back to interview Kevin and stuff right now, just talk about what led him to getting into this, because when I saw his reports online back in 98, 99, and that really, and then he obviously, every convention that he didn't go, everybody wanted him to come because he was the one that figured out how to take all the photo, do an actual report about the convention and promote it. And his reports were treated, by the anime convention staff at that time, as the gold standard and stuff. Your convention made it if Kevin reported and stuff on you. And no offense and stuff, I don't want to take to. There's another well-known photo person and stuff that did it as well. That kind of did the same thing that Kevin did, and that's Lionel Lum, who was on staff and who was a longtime staffer for Anime Expo through the 90s and the 2000s. For it, he runs the usagi-chan.com stuff website, and then he kind of followed Kevin and stuff and started doing reports. They just both of those two and stuff had different styles and stuff in how they reported their various conventions. But Kevin's report, he was well noticed. The companies and stuff noticed him. When he showed up at some of the press conferences that would take things. Obviously, the cosplayers started taking notice and stuff of him because he loved taking photos and stuff of everybody, showing off all the hard work they did for the costumes and stuff they created, and the exposure that brought from doing those things. And then some of the off kilter fandom stuff, fandom panels that took place, live action or live panels and stuff that took place at the conventions. It just the whole thing, the opening closing ceremonies. The one thing he didn't cover really much was anime music videos, and that's really that's something that photojournalists can really cover that well. So that's like the only kind of programming that he really didn't cover for anime fans. But just the throngs of cosplayers and stuff at that time really kind of that was his bread and butter and stuff. He just loved and stuff to take different photos and stuff of people, and his personality was just so he was not standoffish and stuff as well. He quick and stuff to start a conversation and stuff with him. He was very much a gentleman and stuff for it. And I miss the guy, and because I think my last. I saw him obviously when he came to my home convention. I saw him at the couple times that that I went to Anime Expo for things, as well as I think my last time I actually saw him was either Otakon 2005 or Animazement 2007. I think it was 07 was the last time I saw him actually in person at an anime convention. So it's been a long time, but yeah, lost touch and stuff. Obviously, when my career changed and I got out of the Navy and stuff for things, but Kevin definitely left a mark, and his writings appear from the old Animazement, or not what I want to say, the Animerica magazine that Diz wrote. Some of the if you were an anime print magazine, you contacted Kevin and stuff if you wanted to have some of his pictures appear, have his pictures and write maybe a quick column about what the big stories and stuff that happened at your anime convention. He was the gold standard and stuff for that for many years. And anime fan, if there's a Mount Rushmore of people involved with anime fandom, you would want to say through the 90s and through the 2000s, Kevin is definitely one of those four faces and stuff that would appear and stuff on that for doing so much to promote anime fandom here in North America.
I definitely agree with all of that, and thank you for sharing your memories and just sharing another perspective on why Kevin was just such a meaningful person to our community. We miss him, and no one right now can really compare to the scope of what he did for the community, because he was, I swear, he was almost at a con almost every weekend. There was a certain point in time, oh, he's going here, he's going there, and sometimes he would do 2 cons per weekend.
Yeah, he did that and stuff a couple times, and I was just like, how in the bleep do you have the energy?
How do you do that? Whoa.
That was truly amazing and stuff when he would do that. I have no words and stuff to how he pulled that off, but he did for things. But some of the some of them were involved in the same city. For your city where you're at in Los Angeles, it's a little bit easier to have multiple attend the conventions together. So, but it's just because I think one year didn't he do AX in San Diego Comic Con kind of in the same week where he it was the one time that they were kind of flipped, or they were kind of in the same weekend where AX couldn't get the function space over the July 4th weekend and do it. So that's what I remember and so forth. So
I don't think he's ever covered San Diego Comic-Con, since I've noticed a lot of his reports are very anime focused. But for example, if it was Fanime, which falls on Memorial Day weekend in May, which is in San Jose, which is in Northern California, and then Anime North, which is happening in Toronto, he would try to split the 4-day weekend to do 2 days at one thing and 2 days at the other.
And cross customs at the same time, which is just mind-blowing.
I just wow, even when I think back to my 20s and my 30s, I'm I don't think I'd have the energy to do conventions back to back, coast to coast,
Yeah.
But anyway, so tonight's stream is about SakuraCon 2000, which took place on March 31st through April 2nd, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, so you're probably going to have to say it, Tukwila?
Yeah, Tukwila, yes, Tukwila, Washington. At a hotel that does not even exist anymore. It's just, fun fact, SakuraCon has been held in 2 hotels that have been demolished since it was hosting. So,
oh, wow.
The first 2 venues and stuff there was at, so yes, it's kind of it's probably in a good way and so forth, but I'll get to 2001 is kind of a significant event because of what we were able to announce at that convention and stuff, but I just want to say 2000 was the last year that we were held at the Doubletree Inn in Tukwila, Washington, which is it's basically a hotel that was right next to South Center Mall, which is the largest shopping mall in the state of Washington. It's kind of the economic driver, if you will, for retail.
I've been to that Din Tai Fun about a year ago.
Oh, yeah. Love Din Tai Fun. That's my favorite place. My vegetarian friends that fly from in and out of the country, I don't know what it is. I attract a lot of vegan friends, and I always take them there, and they love it. They just love the food, so I'm happy and stuff to spread the love of Din Tan Fun for their dumplings. Absolutely stellar food.
Okay, so we have here voice actors Tiffany Grant Left and Sandy Fox were guests at the event just south of Seattle. Yeah, and if I understand, Tukwila is like really close to the airport because I see that sign anytime like I go into town.
Yeah. So before we get into SoccerCon 2000 stuff, I want to give a quick recap,
Sure.
if you will, and stuff on the creation of actually BakaCon, or the predecessor and stuff convention to before the rebrand, if you will, for SoccerCon. So I think so. In late '96, the owner of the Anime Cafe, an anime video store that was in the Greater Tacoma area, and owned by Rick Wall, along with store patrons Jeff Peterson, Dan Harrison, and a few others, thought the Pacific Northwest should have its own anime convention, seeing Anime Expo, Fanime, A-Con, Otakon, and other cons across the nation had started, and why not us? Why not our region for it as well? Since none of those people and stuff had anime convention experience, we looked to the local science fiction conventions that have been running for over 20 years for leadership, and some of them and experience, and some of them came on and were able to build the staff and stuff together. And they named themselves. They decided to name themselves the BakaCon. And the reason why they named themselves IdiotCon is that we were idiots for thinking we would be successful in running a convention for it, and thankfully and stuff, 313 patrons from across the region had come. We had 3 guests and stuff that year for it, and afterwards they came out in the black, still for it's financially successful. So let's do it again. And then they were able to run BakaCon 99. And now, before they operated BakaCon 99, it's like the following, obviously 1999, they knew they needed to change the convention name if they were ever serious about convincing any Japanese guests to fly all the way over the
I'd imagine.
And so. But during the 1999 convention, they had just a straight raffle for names and stuff for people to write in to write in a new name, and then after the convention and stuff, it would be announced and stuff what the new name and stuff would be. In 1999 was a difficult year because there started to be some fractions between the anime, the people that were the anime people and the people that were the science fiction people that were in the leadership positions. Unfortunately and stuff, it was people were not listening to each other, and it came to a head, and in a sense there was a coup that had to happen, and some of the experienced science fiction people left. And a lot of and then a bunch of new people and stuff came in to fill those positions. I was one of them that came in. I kind of rallied the clubs, if you will, that were in the region to bring in the new blood, if you will, to fill a bunch of the staff positions. And then at the first kind of full meeting after that, it was announced and stuff that the new name from our convention here on out would be called SoccerCon. For it, and then some of our staff, we knew we needed to get a presence down to Issac, down to Anime Expo, so we sent a crew down there to AX99, and they got to experience Yako Kano performance and stuff that year. That's the one AX and stuff. Besides the first one, I just so wish I could go back in time and attend, so I could attend to that concert and stuff with Yoko Kano. Thank you and stuff as well for the excellent coverage and stuff that you did background covering the 99 convention for it. So, but yep. So then I, for the 99 convention, then for the 2000 convention, then I got voted on as vice chair, and then I got a dealer's room coordinator as well as guest coordinator and stuff for that. So let's go ahead and dive right into stuff to some of the to the convention report here. And I was the one that did reach out personally to Kevin Lillard to see if he could attend it. It's not too much now and stuff at this time. Going back there, we comped him for our convention. We paid for his hotel bill for him and stuff to come out, cover the convention. We thought that was adequate trade and stuff for him, him to come out and stuff to he paid his transportation and stuff here to the Seattle area, and we paid him for a couple nights in the hotel room, no problem stuff for it. And it's the reason why we're talking and stuff right now is that it paid for itself for that. So I'm greatly appreciative that Kevin was amenable and stuff to doing that. So I guess we'll go ahead and dive right into Kevin's report then.
All right.
For this Sakura 2000. I'll just go ahead and start from the top here. I'll list the guests and stuff that we had that year. Sandy Fox, Lex Lang, Doug Smith, Tiffany Grant, Dr. Tonya Levi, Tristan McAvery, Yushin Daiko, and Tako Koto was our guest for this year, for that year. So.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, let's see. We took a quick.
Let's dive right into the report and stuff that Kevin had and stuff here around for Friday.
Sure. Yeah, we took a quick look at the first people at the small and friendly convention. Would you say 2000 was small and friendly?
Absolutely. That's another thing too about the conventions is that we wanted to. We were all small, at the time and stuff for hundreds of conventions. AX and ACON, kind of had the lead for the age. Many years and stuff running the convention. They were already several thousand, 1,000 people and stuff at that time. AX in 2000 was just under 10,000 people, and we were very small stuff here at the time. A lot of the regionals and stuff, that time, either Anime Central, Anime Week at Atlanta, ACON and stuff were just, in the mid, a couple thousand people at that time, if they were lucky. So we were just, that year and stuff, I'm not breaking any news and stuff, but we had about 800, I think it was 860 something people that attended and stuff that year for it. So, yep. And it was small and quaint. I'd forgotten stuff that Jerry Chu from Bondi and stuff was working and stuff at that time coming up. Yeah, but Jerry Chu was a longtime Bondi rep, great guy and stuff for things. I think he left Bondi and was working for Blizzard Entertainment and stuff for a while. So it's fun seeing some of these people here, the voice actors and voice guests. The photo with Rick Wall and stuff and Lex Lang and Rick Wall and stuff was our head of relations and stuff for it. He's the one person that in the early years and stuff had the industry contacts to contact all the voice actors because voice actors at the time were the really big thing that people wanted to see, both obviously the Japanese ones and stuff, but also the English ones and stuff as well. So so it's just fun and stuff to see all of them. So.
All right, First Impressions Friday. The site of SakuraCon was at this DoubleTree Inn, now defunct, in Tukwila, just south of Seattle and not far from the international airport. It was a small setting, the smallest this author has seen in 3 years of attending conventions. And the size of the hotel meant limits on the number of people who attended. Around 500 people registered in advance. Another 103-day passes were sold quickly at the registration desk on the event's first day, and the number of one-day memberships were limited.
Yeah, and that would be something that would carry on for 2001, even that we kind of had a cap then, or even moving to a larger hotel, and then the last year in 2005, I believe they also had a cap too and stuff, and we were split at that time between two hotels. By SeaTac Airport, and it was like 4,500 people, and we were maxed out in those two hotels for the amount of things. And it's fire code reasons, it's people's safety. The buildings can only safely occupy a certain amount of people, and for insurance reasons, you better have the fire marshal come and meet with the fire marshal beforehand and give them and stuff the schematics and stuff of how you're going to be laying everything out from the registration table to the exhibitors hall table to how your theater rooms and stuff, how seating stuff is going up. I mean, it's covering your butt basically, and that part has only gotten worse here as the insurance industry has even more and more stakes here on something. So if you screw up, you're not going to get reimbursed and stuff if something you did willfully, ignore practice and stuff for things. So, yeah.
Okay. Still the small size game SakuraCon a comfortable. So the small size gave SakuraCon a comfortable feeling, which brought back familiar convention faces, such as these Officer Jenny costumers seen at Fanime 5 weeks earlier. And there's our friend Jerry Chu of Bandai grinning over the success of his company's Gundam Wing serial on the Cartoon Network. The groundbreaking cable cast of the company's giant robot show led to a rush to buy Bandai's model kits, Chu said, adding that it was difficult to keep up the 5 variations of Gundams from the show on store shelves.
I remember those two. I believe those two twins and stuff lived in our area and stuff, but they were prominent here on doing the West. There were certain cosplayers that and certain people that just loved to. They were very regional in what type of conventions they wanted to go. So pretty much the West Coast people stuck with the West Coast. There was a few people at that time that tried to be national, but it didn't really become national. I want to say until kind of more into the 2000s for it. When what I'll say the heyday of when Otakon and AX were kind of in the bragging rights for who was the largest and who had the most sway for things. So
okay,
but, let's go on here. Keep going here with the guests here.
Sure, more familiar faces from left to right. Voice actors Tristan McAvery, Doug Smith, and Tiffany Grant were at a wild audience participation improv show on the convention's first day. Grant was delighted to learn that more fans wanted to eat lunch with her at the upcoming Project A-Con than any other guest. New voices were also on hand for SakuraCon. In the middle is Sandy Fox, who has taken her voice acting talents. She's the newest voice for the classic character Betty Boop to anime roles in recent years. On the right is Lex Lang, who specializes in duplicating celebrity voices when he's not voicing roles in Ninja Cadets and Magic Knight Rayearth. And Rick Odaking Wall is on the left, ushering the guests around the convention. And here's a happy family portrait of the SakuraCon's final day. Tiffany Grant is in the middle, surrounded by her sister on the left and her mother on the right. Mom and sis live in the Seattle area, and Tiffany has 4 mothers. All right, let's dive into the next section. As expected, some of those people were wearing costumes. All right, so these were the twins you were talking about earlier, the Officer Jennies. So I can just going to just scroll through here.
Quick question on the stream here: is it supposed? Is the images for Fansview supposed to be appearing? Because I'm not seeing the. I see your talking image, but I don't see the Fansview and stuff appearing on there.
Yeah, let me just double check real quick.
I just want to make sure that's clear and stuff for everybody else that wants to follow on visually and stuff as well as audio.
Yeah, let me just double check here.
So we have the twins here.
Yeah, it's appearing.
I love the little girl here in Kiki's delivery service going down. I think that's a. I can't remember. I'm forgetting some of the names of some of the anime characters and stuff at that time. Clamp, I think is the group. That's one of the boy and stuff with the white wings and stuff on him. That's the Aramna 1/2 from it. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that's Angel Sanctuary, but it's just really been a while since I've been familiar with what's hot in anime back then. But of course we got something that appears Ranma inspired. We have what looks like is Slayers. Wow, Slayers really takes me back.
Yes.
I love the soundtrack to Slayers. We got
definitely a good kind of soundtrack there.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VIII. We got a Miyaka and Kiki. Yeah, Fushigi Yugi was really huge in the early 2000s, late 90s,
we watched that in my
anime
club in '99 and stuff. So yeah, that was the one JoJo series and stuff that I did like and stuff. I'm not usually a JoJo person, but that series and stuff I liked enough. So
yeah, I've been rewatching Fushigi Yugi on Crunchyroll. Now that I have a subscription for it. So yeah, there was quite a bit of Vashes back in the day too. Got someone from Oh My Goddess.
Oh My Goddess, Vash the Stampede there on the third one.
Mm-hmm. Saber Marionette.
Thank you, Saber Marionette. Yeah. The person that's on the right there, that's my anime club president, Rob Clifford there. For showing off, I forget what character and stuff he is and stuff on that, but
I feel it looks familiar. I want to put a name to it, but it's just been a while because I know the major things that were majorly popular back then, but it's like the titles that just kind of came and went. Like, yeah, I remember them. Like, oh yeah, that was a thing back then.
And then oh god, I forget the wonderful outlet that Kate is wearing there on page 4 and stuff here. That was our head of registration for many years. For it, I just remember Kate, but I can't remember what series that is. I remember watching this series. I just can't think of the name and stuff of it. Then yeah, of course you see the TV interview there and stuff of some character. I don't know on that one. So.
Now let's see. Right. Yep. Okay, just scrolling down. Okay. All right. Let's get back to Friday. All right. Now let's talk about what anime should concern parents let their children watch.
And this is being run by Dan Harrison, who was the convention chairman for SoccerCon 2000. Long time person. He's one of the founders and stuff of BakaCon and stuff in SoccerCon. He was there for many years and stuff covering it. So he's I was number 2 and stuff to him. So I very much and stuff appreciated Dan and stuff. Dan had had quite a few kids and stuff himself. So he loved running this type of panel every year at the conventions for things to help other parents out. What is appropriate and what's not to show kids and stuff. Especially it's more so the violence, and then of course Japanese have a little bit more different tact as to nudity is taught a different can be a different way or different appreciation or not appreciation for nudity. So he was really good at stuff about covering those things. So yeah, so go ahead. Let's recap and stuff his panel here.
Yeah, sure thing. As an aside, Professor Ramses and I at San Diego Comic-Con last year, we ran a panel to the effect of, what are my kids watching? Explaining this whole anime thing. And we were just mainly just focused not so much on like these are appropriate titles. Like it's more like why do my kids watch Demon Slayer? Why do my kids watch One Piece? And we talk about the values that those shows entail and why they are of value to America's Western youth today and why they connect with them. So yeah, let's just dive right into this. Do good parents let their children watch anime? Sure. Daniel Harrison, one of the leaders of the Anime Northwest Club, has 6 children whom he calls an otaku family. However, he takes care to let those children watch only anime that feels suitable for them. Anime tends to be more intense than standard American TV cartoons, and parents have to be careful what they allow their children to watch. It goes without saying that parents shouldn't let their kids get anywhere near hentai or yaoi material, but Harrison says decisions can get difficult with other material. Japan has different values. You'll see things there that you won't see in the US, he noted. It also depends on what your children can handle, Harrison continued. There's nothing that's necessarily good or bad except for the hentai stuff. What about the occasional nudity in shows like Ranma One Half? It's done in a way where it's not dangerous to kids, it's not sexual. Harrison said, comparing it to the family bathing scenes in My Neighbor Totoro. What about the graphic violence in some anime? It can be too intense for children, although the author notes that Princess Mononoke, with its dismemberment and decapitation scenes, has been advertised for children by some theaters. Harrison said that he was worried about the reaction the violent Rurouni Kenshin OAVs would get from parents when it was shown by his anime club. I thought one woman was mad because of the expression on her face, but I later found out she was really into the show. Okay. All right, what else is going on Friday? All right, let's talk about opening ceremonies were graceful and energetic. All right.
Yes, so we had some of our performers. We had our taiko drummers as well as the Taco Kano, which is a kind of a harp group and stuff that performed. So we have always kind of had, at least the years and stuff I was running in here, that was a part of the convention in the early 2000s. Taiko, and other anime conventions and stuff have also and stuff had taiko as well. So this is nothing really new and stuff. But I always think it's better to source local, if you will, and have the local people or people and stuff that are doing it rather than having flying somebody and stuff in for it to have the local community and stuff to be a part of the convention. So this was great stuff for the convention.
Okay, SoccerCon has been dedicated to Bill Cooper, a supporter of the previous Baka cons who had died a few weeks before the 2000 event, the first to bear the name. The opening ceremonies were as much a concert as a chance to meet the guest of honor, who also appeared at a Friday night reception. Performing at the ceremonies were the energetic Yushin Daiko drum group and the graceful Takakoto ensemble. There's no sound on this page, but the pictures help to show the artistry and contrast between the groups.
Yeah, now and stuff, at that time we didn't have YouTube for it, so I know there's probably some really good. Is there any kind of Kevin Lillard equivalents to people that do video reports and stuff at anime conventions now?
Yes and no. He preserved. Between Lionel and Eurobeat King, both of them found a way to preserve a lot of the old Masquerade cosplay contest videos online, and that's the closest I could think of. But there's some people who are actually, who've been actually recording their camcorder footage that they recorded during this period in time onto YouTube.
Yeah, because it gets into the whole music rights and stuff like that too. You could have a takedown notice and stuff because you include. The group is playing music that's copyrighted and they're not getting their cut and stuff from having it played, so there's kind of difficulties with that. But if you're just having a speaker come up and give awards out for a random award stuff coming out, or just introducing the guests type of thing, that type of stuff I just love to see, and hopefully there is some kind of the new generations of Kevin and Lionel and stuff that are doing those type of things. So.
Yeah. So just scrolling through the photos here. We're towards the end.
Yep, for end of Friday.
Yes, so towards the end of Friday, we have another section of cosplayers. Got Elise Shalrin over there. Like Cardcaptor Sakura, it's one of those fandoms that I feel still remains so evergreen.
Yep. Oh, I see the Vampire Princess Miyu there on the bottom right. From it, I forget what some of the other ones and stuff are from there. On the first page there. Yeah,
I see this one next to Shalron. I'm getting Utena vibes like Miki. But then again, back in the day, we didn't really have like a lot of wig options, so a lot of us had to use like our natural hair.
Got it.
Oh, that's an amazing Miyu. Oh, we got Sorcerer Hunters. I remember that anime. That's.
And we have some more Final Fantasy here on the second page.
God. Mama from Kodomo no Adocha, I believe. Final Fantasy. Ranma, Chibi Moon. We got Chichiri in the background.
Yeah, it's like I could see some of these series, and I recognize it, but I can't place the names up for it. And the third page, you got Tiffany Grant's up there cosplaying as one of their characters she used to voice act in. Another Kiki's Delivery Service, I see a Nadeshiko there, my friend Eric there, Preston Nadeshiko, I forget the character and stuff from that series.
Yeah, Marcia's successor Nadeshiko, I was just talking about that with a friend of mine at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, Nadeshiko, that first series and stuff was just fantastic. I love that. And I love that crossover music video that has that and Evangelion and stuff for playing it. It's one of my favorite crossover ones.
Okay, a couple of fighting game characters here on the fourth page.
The fourth page, I can't remember the name of the cosplayer. I think his name was Chris, or I forget his last name and stuff, or in the Piccolo outfit. He was one of the most energetic people and stuff that just, he loved life, and he was just wanted to make you, he just exuded positivity and stuff from it. He just wanted everybody to have a good time, and boy, and he was physically well built, and boy, he cosplayed in some of the great, great buff characters and stuff. He would have no hesitation in doing that. So I just love the guy. I miss him.
Okay, we got an Utena just hanging out.
Part of when you have a smaller convention, it's kind of like it's kind of like a high school in a way. For it. I don't know about your high school graduation class. Mine was about 230 people from it, and you kind of generally at least know all the faces and stuff that you graduate high school with. But some high schools have a class of 500 to 600, and you really can't even know everybody in your own class. For it like that, it feels more like a college versus an actual high school. So.
Yeah, I had a relatively small high school, so my graduating class size was around estimated like 300 or so. But yeah, like I remember like the first small convention I went to, I was Animagic 2000 in Lancaster. Kevin didn't go to that one. But it was like almost like less than 100 people and everyone pretty much knew each other.
Yeah.
All right, we
It's
are
just
on
fun times.
yeah, we are on to Saturday. And looks like we got more costumers who were out before 9 a.m. Like, I'm not even awake before 9 a.m.
Yep.
Especially at cons, especially at my age during this time. I'm
Uh,
probably still trying to
yeah.
like, hi, still trying to wake up here.
See, for me attending the conventions, I did cosplay in my second. I cosplayed from 01 to 04. I just had one costume. I was the for those who remember the series, Irresponsible Captain Tyler. I actually commissioned and to a cosplay for a lady called Melissa Quinn who ran Fairy Fingers Costumes. She would make costumes for people. That was her business, and she made me the dress white and kind of naval uniform. If you will, for that. So I figured it kind of fit with me, being I was usually on the leadership of the convention, so I was irresponsible leading the convention and stuff. In whatever zany way it was going to turn out, that's what we were going to do. So, otherwise and stuff, when you saw me at a convention, I was usually wearing a business suit, so people could easily find me and stuff. So as to in case when you're working staff at a convention, you're putting out fires and stuff all the time. You're going from crisis to crisis, even though it's not. You don't think it's too much of a crisis, but you're just putting out fires and making sure everything's smoothly and everyone's smiling and having a good time. So.
Well, absolutely. And now we're looking at costumers who showed up at 12 p.m.
Oh, and there's okay. So on the second page, top left, there is Melissa Quinn herself. That she is my person that made it, and she was on when we covered, I believe, Sakura or AX 2000.
Yes, she ran like a cosplay panel. Like I remember, she was like one of my cosplay idols, like back in the day, because I just love her sheer elegance in a lot of the work she did. It was very flowy, like Bill Dandy kind of ball gown stuff. I'm like, I want to make something amazing like that.
Yeah, she still does that and stuff for things. So she's pretty much attends. I think her and her husband, her family, just kind of around 2000, at the end of the 2000s, kind of stepped away from that, and because it was so high energy, and they're even they're older than me, so they regularly attend the local science fiction convention that's held at the same week. It's held on Easter weekend. Same with SoccerCon.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. It's like NorwestCon.
Yeah, NorwestCon and stuff. Yeah, it's held by SeaTac Airport. So yep, same weekend.
Yes.
And I actually went to that this year and stuff. So I love a lot of the older staff that is there at NorwestCon that were on staff that helped. That very much gave a great hand and stuff for how to run the basics for how to run a convention type of thing, regardless of what if you're a gaming convention, what if you're anime convention, you're a science fiction, fantasy, costume contest, cosplay contest, whatever. They just had good, solid information for passing down, and were more than willing to share it. And that was so well needed. So I'm always appreciative of them for doing that. So. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the end of the Sunday morning ones here. I don't recognize.
Yeah, Saturday. Okay, we got Ranma over here.
Then the more costumes. For Saturday morning here. You got Pikachu. Pikachu or Pokemon was just coming out for things. Oh, bottom left there is a Captain Tyler in his regular uniform. I see there on the first page, bottom right. So good. Theo. Theo in the white on the second page, the white suit. He was our dance coordinator and stuff for SoccerCon for for the 2000s. So he was heading that up, and then he usually went down with Melissa and stuff to Anime Expo and stuff as well. So he traveled the West Coast for events quite a bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's costing as Ogami from Sakura Tyson.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the other. Sakura Tyson, wasn't that the one they had a stage show series? They had a stage show actually that you could go to in Japan that ran for many years.
Yes, it was this really interesting franchise where it's like steam powered mecha in the Taisho era, and then it's run by this theater troupe, and then in Japan you can actually watch productions by the theater troupe that's acted out by their respective voice actors. So it's not Sakura Tyson that they're acting out; it's the plays that they're acting out, which I always found
Gotcha.
very amusing.
And then it was a long running video game and stuff
Yes.
as well. Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
I cosplayed from it. I cosplayed as Erica Fontaine from the Paris division.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah, we got some Sailor Senshi here. We got Ranma. Yeah, I'm noticing like a lot of Ranma cosplayers during this era.
And then the last page, or page 3 and stuff, at the bottom right photo, those are all my anime club patrons. And the two on the left are a couple, Brian and Max, and they were the web team and stuff for me for the from year 2000 to 2004. They were in charge of the SoccerCon website. Did a bang up job for it. And Max and stuff ended up being the con chair for my last year there in 2004 for it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing Saber Marionette group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I always feel like websites are just so important for anime conventions. I mean, I'm not saying that like as a no duh. It's that like I'm just surprised that there's quite a few conventions that just popped up that only have an Instagram and not like a web presence. I'm like, guys, you don't know how to make a website.
Well, yeah, they would just have a Facebook page. You know, Patrick Delahante, who runs the AnimeCons website, anime.com, animecons.com, you know, that was his rule. You had to have an official, regular, you know, .com or .org or .net website and stuff for things if you were going to be taken seriously and actually listed and stuff on his site for it. You know, for any type of event, whether he also created then fan cons as kind of a sister brother, and that would cover, you know, that would include every other type of, you know, non-anime convention, whether it was just animation, gaming, fantasy, sci-fi, that, you know, comic, that would go in stuff under that one. So.
Okay, an expert on Asian cultures looked at anime. And what did they find when they looked at anime? All right, Saturday Dr. Antonia Levi. Anime may be influenced by American popular art, but it's Asian at heart. So Dr. Antonia Levi, history professor at Portland State University. The ambiguity that anime stories often contain is part of Asian philosophy and religion, and that confuses some Americans, but it draws others to the art form, especially youth. Some people look at the Pokemon movie and the currently hot Gundam Wing series and see a contradiction because those shows feature and condemn fighting at the same time. Levi said it's a Shinto way of looking at life, and many don't understand that. I think there is going to be a clash, and it's going to be more than the fundamentalist stuff. They're not saying it's neo-witchcraft and paganism. They're saying you can't have two competing opinions at the same time, said Levi. Fans, including Levi, look at anime and see good storytelling. I think character development is critical, she said. We love to find what makes each other tick, and that's where anime excels. And anime takes you to worlds beyond themselves, which is one of the reasons Levi feels youth are attracted to this art form. The fair attitude towards differing beliefs is important. No matter what their parents believe, these kids are growing up in a society where they have to deal with different beliefs. Even though anime creators say they're influenced by American movies and art, is anime that American? Levi said, no. My feeling is that they try to portray Americans, they fail. They're looking at themselves. Interesting words.
Yes, and Dr. Antonio and stuff, Levi and stuff was great, and there's been a long, you know, during the 80s and to the early part of the 90s, that just started to see American professors, or, you know, professors in academia and stuff, you know, also in Europe and stuff as well, start analyzing, you know, this growing Japanese animation movement, you know, movement that was coming out to the west and stuff, moving from the east to the west. And analyzing it from a pop culture perspective, and Levi was just absolutely great on that. She was kind of a local academic and stuff for the region. She attended many of the other conventions, you know, science. She always commented stuff, you know, very much a friend of fandom, if you will. Helen McCarthy in the UK and stuff is also kind of, I believe in stuff. She was a doctor and stuff in that. There's a there's a professor and stuff down in Texas, and I believe he's out of University of Texas and stuff. He was a professor as well. There was also, do you happen to remember area and stuff that during the 2000s, and I think it ended kind of in the mid 2010s, was Macadamia, was the anime, it was an education, it was like a full weekend, or not full weekend, it wasn't a convention, but it was like a week long conference to talk about the the academic effects and stuff of anime. It took place in Minnesota, I believe, for it. So
I remember hearing about that, but I think it kind of just came and went. I know Anime Expo, they used to have like an academic lecture series, but I think they phased it out this year because I wanted to submit for that, and I wanted to also just check out and support my peers in academia. For that, but unfortunately, it looks like they phased out their academic lecture series, which is sad because I really because like one of my pie in the sky aspirations is to be a leading voice in fandom studies, because I think there is a lot of merit to not only look at the study of anime as it relates to pop culture, but also just the sociology behind fandom as well.
Very much so. Well
Okay.
said.
All right, let's see. Experts on DVD production looked at the future of the new medium. This newfangled technology known as DVD.
Yes, and I just I kind of want to go back to our beginning stuff when we were talking about you want your you made it for one if you get Kevin to come chronicle it too, but two, if you get industry participation, if you get one of the anime company distributors at the time or the manga companies, Viz kind of being both, but they were the big manga player and stuff as well, or still are, to come and do an hour-long panel and stuff, kind of a company update as to what has been released. And usually that was always done. Used to be only the releases where the upcoming titles and stuff or new releases would be announced at Anime Expo. That started to change kind of in the early 2000s when you had other, it did change in the late 90s. Otakon started getting some major releases. I think at the end of Evangelion movie actually premiered there. And I can't remember if it was announced there at Otakon that ADV and then had gotten announced that they had gotten the rights. So that was one thing and stuff. You made it type of thing, and if you got a company and stuff coming. And Rick was able to convince some of the people from Animego and stuff to come. So was just recently this year and stuff got taken over by the Anime News Network founder Justin Savekis with his production company and stuff has now taken over at Animego titles and stuff from Animego. So it's just nice and stuff to see it. So let's go ahead and see what they were talking about with this newfangled technology 25 years ago that was finally making pop culture. How do you consume anime and stuff at the time before Netflix and Crunchyroll and stuff came on and stuff? About 10 years, roughly 10, under 10 years later.
All right, every attempt to distribute video on disc has been a technical success and a commercial failure, but DVDs have a good chance to break that pattern. 2 years ago, anime fans complained about the end of 12-inch Laserdisc, but now they look forward to each new DVD release. Peter Mackenzie Leff and Leroy Radford Wright have been part of the growing number of DVD releases through their work on Anime Ego Disc for Multimedia 2000. DVDs have several advantages that previous video discs did not, the two men noted. There's only one DVD format with the demise of the DivX sub-format in 1999. I actually remember that. While there were several competing video discs in previous years, remember the RCA capacitance system that uses stylus? People are used to small discs for playback because of years of CDs and prefer the 12cm format, and DVDs are being sold for far less than Laserdisc. $25 for a DVD as compared to $50 to $70 for a Laserdisc. The DVDs are for the DVDs, not for the male geek in the family, said Mackenzie's. Unfortunately, DVDs resemble CD-ROMs in more than size and shape. Just like the first data CDs, not all DVDs will play properly on all DVD players. That's because problems with the complex authoring programs used to make the disc and in the way the disc are pressed. Mackenzie and Radford noted that there were problems with an early release of the Bugum Crisis DVDs. If anyone has problems, the two urges users to make sure that the drive manufacturers and disc production companies know so everyone can solve the problem and avoid it in the future. The two said that DVDs won't replace VHS recorders in the way that audio CDs killed long-playing vinyl records. When was the last time you bought a stylus for your turntable? I know I just used my Victrola the other day. However, VHS could take a hit if when recordable home DVD drives are available, which could happen in the next few years. Yeah, I think my first anime on DVD was Tenchi Muyo in Love, which was the first Tenchi movie. And I still have that signed by the American voice cast for that. All right.
Nice. I'm trying to remember what my first anime. Boy, that's a good question. What my first anime DVD is? I don't know. I have kind of a nice sizable collection of probably about 40 DVDs, but. I have a few box sets. I probably the most prized thing is I have the Evangelion box set. That's probably the only box set that I have of one series and stuff for it. So, but yeah, it's surprising how that it only took 7 years and stuff for kind of the market to crash and stuff after that. So I mean, the market then moved towards streaming very, very quickly here in the end of the 2010s and stuff for it. But this was still the growth. DVDs and stuff came on the market. December of '97. It was the initial push and stuff for them for it, and then progressively the wave and stuff there really crescendos. I want to say in 2005 or '6 for DVDs. So,
all right,
great run, great technology, but yeah, it eventually passed. So.
Okay, let's talk some Bandai. Looks like we're going to be talking about Gundam Wing has turned out to be the breakout hit that Bandai hoped it would be. In the few weeks since the animated soap opera wore young angst and cool-looking war robots started on the Cartoon Network, large numbers of viewers have caught the twice-a-day cable cast, and more people have traveled to toy stores to buy model kits of the 5 Gundams featured in the show, all which pleases Jerry Chu of Bandai, who notes that stores having a hard time keeping the Gundam kits in stock. The success of Gundam Wing has also driven the sales of other Bandai titles on DVD. Chu said that one dealer at SakuraCon ran out of the Bandai DVDs the first day of the convention and had to reorder fast. Fans of the other dozen or so Gundam series might think that Wing's success would lead Bandai to rush other titles to market, but that's not the case. We know there are a lot of Gundam fans out there who want Zeta, but we'll take it slow, Chu said. The Saber Marriott J2X series also will be placed on hiatus, he said. Those who want to learn Bandai's future release plans will have to be patient. We have a lot of titles coming that we haven't announced yet, Chu said. He added that there will be 4 or 5 titles to be released from July, which implies they may be announced at Anime Expo. What about that announcement by a Fox network that they would broadcast the Vision of Escaflowne series? Let's just say they jumped the gun and Bandai has no comment, said Chu.
As we know, though, from you already done the Anime Expo 2000, that's when they did the official announcement.
Okay, alright. Why do these strange things happen to anime dubs? Alright, what's this panel all about? It's by Tristan McAvery.
Yep, voice actor and stuff for it. They did a lot of EDV dubs and stuff for things, but yeah, he definitely goes into it saying it was an interesting time for the dubbing because dubbing was starting to get more and more acceptance for it, and that was always going to be for the purists, you love always watching the original language with subtitles. But the majority of the North American population, wants to listen to language in their native tongue. for it, and so there's a market there for the dubs, and that's been proven out and stuff for it. But it took a while and stuff to get there. So, and Tristan explains that here in the dub. So go ahead.
Okay. I call this the Defending Your Life panel, said actor Tristan McAvery when he faced a Saturday afternoon room full of fans. People at SakuraCon were not hesitant to say they disliked dubs, and McAvery agreed to a point. It is very easy to screw up a dub. Bad dubs suck, he said. McAvery spent an hour showing fans how he decides what to put in the scripts of anime he has directed. He admitted that some of those lines in a dub are not the original Japanese script. If you think that dubs take some Japanese flavor out of anime, McAvery agrees. You are going to have to Americanize it a little bit because there are some things these dumb Yankees can't get, he said. That's why reference to well-known Japanese TV shows and characters get turned into reference to well-known American TV shows and characters. Although McAvery said that the kind of cleverness can get overused. A direct translation is dull, McAvery said. It is our job to figure out the intricacies of the Japanese original. English is clumsy. It is made up of German-based words with Latin grammar. In Japanese, you can express an amazing amount of information in 3 lip flaps. Still, as a writer, McAvery wants to make sure a story is told, which is why he rewrites of anime translations to try and include a plot, even if there was no plot in the original. You still don't like dubs? If the anime is sacred and original, then learn Japanese and do it right, suggests McAvery. Alright, let's take a look at the cosplay contest. Saturday night was the cosplay contest night in Tukwila. They've got 6 pages of this.
That was a packed room, a little room with packed as many people there it could be as possible. So, yeah, I recognize some of the outfits here from various series. Captain Tyler.
Yeah, I also see that too.
Yep, Super Marionette.
Okay, alright, next page.
Yep, and it's funny and stuff. I recognize a bunch of people here who later became staff at the convention, but this year, they were participating. Staffers, we don't usually, kind of the role and stuff for staffers is you don't participate in any contests. So to just show kind of a conflict of interest and stuff. So if you're part of a contest, then you're just an attendee of the convention. You're not staff. So.
Okay, just scrolling through here. Okay.
Oh, on page 3, the green outfit. That's Chris Small. He was one of the another one of the originals and stuff that have been there for a while. And then he was in charge of the. He was the head of the exhibitors hall stuff from 2001 until I won't say 2011. He did it for well over 10 years and stuff for it. So good guy. Haven't seen him and stuff for a while, but yeah. I can't really think of what series that was from.
That's Cardcaptor Sakura. He's cosplaying as Lee Shalren.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cardcaptor Sakura was like really huge back then because I believe then the WB was getting Cardcaptors, but us who watched it before it was on WB via Fansview called the Cardcaptor Sakura, and we did not like that Nirvana dub.
And if you look at my video stream here, here's the back of the con shirt and stuff for that year. For the official con T-shirt, I'm showing you and stuff right here. So it definitely was a popular series back then.
Yeah, we got Bust Move over here. I believe these are these the same twins for Officer Jenny?
Yep, they did the Bust a Move was they just did for the actual costume contest on Saturday night. Kevin and stuff just he loved that photo of the both of them, so that's why he showed it a couple times and stuff for it. So.
Okay, we got Vampire Princess Miyu.
Yep. Another Vasha Stampede. Trigun costumes here.
Yeah, looks like what I'm seeing right now on the screen, I'm assuming this is Final Fantasy VIII, because I didn't recognize the Idea.
Yeah.
There's Vasha Stampede over there. See a Chinese dress on the end here.
Yeah. That room did not, that ballroom did not have great lighting, so unfortunately most of the photos here are dark.
But that's a really cool Wolfwood photo. Just like looking at like it's a darkness, just with the red lighting on it, looks really. It works.
It works.
Looks like I'm assuming this looks like a Sailor Senshi game show with like the bees in the seas.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Looks like that wraps it up for the cosplay contest on Saturday. Okay, winners. Let's take a look at the award winners. Looks like we have.
Oh, we did have a staff costume contest and stuff for it that year. Then Chris won it, so nice.
Oh, there you go. Best musical performance was I assume is Pikachu in a onesie.
Oh, and the best group is those are all my people from the Animation club up at Bellingham. So good to see that. Tom, best monologue. He's dressed up as one of the guys from Trigun.
Yeah, Wolfwood.
The character's name is Wolfwood and stuff for it. So he became staff later on. And of course, Kate there, she became registration the following year for it. And best child, that's actually Dan. That's the con chair's Dan Harrison's his oldest daughter. From it in it, so good to see that she won that year. So
wow, that's so cool. Like it's just like almost like if you win this contest, congratulations, you're gonna be in staff in the next few years.
Yep.
That's a real award. Giving back your time to SakuraCon. That's a real award.
Yep, absolutely. And then we were one of the very few conventions that talked about manga. For it, that didn't outside of the California cons actually had manga guests or manga companies participate, and I was able to convince Mike Hansen, who was at that time the editor of Dark Horse's mangas things, to come up and do a press kind of do his first kind of press conference, if you will, and stuff for Dark Horse. So I was extremely happy and to get him up here because it. That was a nice feather in our cap that we can go to Fanime and AX and go look. We're up. We're a smaller convention, but we can pull in some of the industry that is that's doing national releases of things. As at that time, Super Manga Blast and stuff was coming out with their kind of the month. I believe it was a monthly publication stuff at the time with it was carrying about 4 or 5 different manga series serialized and stuff in it. So it was just fun. Good to have that and stuff for it. So let's go talk about what Mike announced and stuff that year and stuff at Dark Horse.
All right, Dark Horse. I remember seeing them at San Diego Comic-Con last weekend. Okay,
excellent.
For the last 4 months, we've been waiting for Super Manga Blast, the co-production between Torrance Smith with Studio Proteus of California and Pat Duke with Radio Comics of Texas. SakuraCon was Super Manga Blast's coming out party, with the book being released a couple days before the convention. Mike Hansen, the editor of Dark Horse's monthly manga titles, was at SakuraCon to celebrate the new title's release. Super Manga Blast will feature unreleased stories from old favorites Oh My Goddess, 3x3 Eyes, and What's Michael were in the first edition. And titles that are new to the translated manga market, Shadowstar and Seraphic Feather. Hansen said that readers shouldn't expect to see the What's Michael stories about a porn movie involving cats and a man who shoots cats in Manga Blast. What? The new title eventually will showcase for series which take several episodes to develop their plots, he said. Fans of Shadow Lady from Kazu Katsura will be sad to learn that the series is moving into its final editions. Hansen said that Dark Horse has printed nearly all the series, and when it's finished, there will be nothing left to print. He also noted that Shadow Lady has been Dark Horse's slowing-selling manga title, while Oh My Goddess has been among the best sellers. There is a lot more of Goddess and Blade of the Immortal on the way, since both series are still running in Kodansha manga in Japan. Masamune Shiro fans will have to continue to be patient in waiting for the follow-up to the Ghost in the Shell series, Hansen said. Shiro likes to take his time. He is one of the slowest, but because he's so good, he can afford to be that way. No one at Dark Horse seems to know when the new Ghost series will be published. And we get to know where did all these heads come from? Like, yeah, where did they come from? Where did all these heads come from? Must be a cosplay panel, but let's take a look-see. Oh, I see a familiar name here, but we shall continue on. Even the people who make the most elaborate of anime costumes for conventions, admit it's too much work to make sense, but it's worth the effort when they walk down the halls. I love the looks that people give us in the hallways. What the hell is that? Said Nikki Froberg, who made the stunning Genma and Panda and Pen costumes worn by her friend Neil at recent conventions. Froberg brought heads of those costumes and some works in progress like this Totoro to SakuraCon. Froberg was joined by Melissa Quinn, who makes and sells costumes through her Fairy Fingers operation. I look at anime clothes and I think, this is what fashion should have been. Quinn, one of the few people who makes anime clothes on commission, David and Kimberly from Cosmic Closet are among others, wore a built-in outfit of her own design and had an dress on display in the dealer's room. These heads start as ordinary party balloons, inflate them, cover them with paper mache, and use that form for the head. Line the form with any old cloth and cover everything with foam in the shape of the character. A lot of Froberg's foam comes from a friend at a computer company that uses foam for packing. The fur comes from fabric and specialty stores and has to be bought at the right time of year. The stuff is usually on sale after Halloween because everyone else has finished their costumes by then, she said. There usually aren't pre-made patterns for anime clothes, so Quinn has to figure things out on her own. Take a robe worn by Moose from Ranma 1/2. Quinn calculates the shape of the robe, then has to estimate how the fabric would fit on a real human. The thing that you have to fight with anime costumes is that fabric seems to appear and disappear, she said. You have to make a middle-of-the-road judgment on how much fabric to fight. Then she makes prototypes out of cheap fabric before sewing the finished article. Yeah, Melissa Quinn was definitely one of my cosplay idols when I was first starting out, like before I started even cosplaying. How do these actors turn anime into English? I might know some of these faces here.
Yeah, I think these are a lot of popular faces that through the late '90s through the early 2000s they were in a lot of different series for things, especially for 80. If you were fans of 80B dubs, yes, they were definitely a part of it. So. Let's go ahead and keep going here.
Okay, the Saturday voice acting panel at SakuraCon featured a mix of familiar names and people who are new to conventions. Tristan McAvery Leff and Tiffany Grant Wright have been at a lot of conventions. You have to live where the work is going on. You can't live in Kansas and be a Broadway star, said Grant, who lives in Houston and specializes in 80D films dubs, although she has appeared in a couple of feature films produced in Texas, including artistically successful Arlington Road. Grant was passing out flyers for one of those films, the independently produced Laughing Boy. Pamela Lauer, who was the Kay in Dirty Pair to Jessica Velo's Yuri, made her first convention appearance at SakuraCon. There are some odd stories about the energetic recording sessions the two had for the Dirty Pair series, but Laura said it was still disciplined work. We could change the lines, but it still had the same meaning, Laura said. Doug Smith, who made perverts fashionable as the lead character in the 6-episode Golden Boy series, is a classic case of the non-actor actor. He started as a tape box designer for ADV films and still has that job. They can say you're too silly to play a serious part. I plan on attacking that, said Smith, who wants to grow as an actor. I do love his part in Golden Boy. He just made that dub a lot of fun.
That was probably one of my favorite early dubs for it was Golden Boy because the outrageousness and stuff, outlandishness of what that series plays up for it. I just love it. It's definitely one of my anime guilty pleasures is Golden Boy.
All right, Sandy Fox is a tiny person with a tiny voice, but the timbre is in demand for dubbing in Los Angeles, especially where the roles call for children and babies. It's a sort of high-pitched voice in the style of Japanese female voices that also has led to keep her into anime dubbing. You want to keep the integrity of the original Japanese film, she said. While Fox has a big resume of voices in American and Japanese cartoons, she's competing against A-list actors who are being recruited for those roles. They get cast because they're celebrities, she said. Fox has now set up her own fan club where she is making pictures and music CDs available to members. Actor and singer Lex Lang recommended that aspiring actors make a demo tape of their voice range. He does dozens of voices and specializes in mimicking celebrity voices for dialogue and replacement work. To those fans who dislike dubs, he said that the art form has improved and will continue to get better. There was some anime that was dubbed by people who didn't care. That's changed a lot. The producers and directors have gotten more exact. Okay, and our last piece of Saturday. Is there a trick to translation? Let's find out. This is
Boy, and stuff, definitely some names and stuff here and stuff. I think you might recognize one of the people and stuff down here for it, but we'll go ahead and stuff with it.
Sure thing. Translators, this is where anime translation starts. The people who make what amounts to the first draft of the script, which eventually becomes what you read on subtitles and hear in dubbing scripts. Anna Exeter Leff is working on the Trigun series, and Jung Park moved from the technical journal translations to anime work with the Gestalt series. Their translations usually are rewritten in the final form of a dub and sub-release. I just hear the sentence and I write it down. The first thing that comes to mind, Exeter said. What you have to do first is to get into the character's psyche. In Trigun, the retro future story of a pacifist gunfighter, almost everyone has a weird way of speaking, and Exeter has to find a way to express that in English. Another noted translator, Takayuki Karahashi, quietly watched from the back of the room. Exeter talked about Trigun's characters. Vash, he speaks weird all the time. He speaks like a Tokyo city boy. Other times he's totally serious. Meryl talks like a proper girls' school student. I make the character sound like what he would sound like in English, Exeter said. Park has found that anime translations are more of a hell than technical translations. Formality in Japanese is very straightforward, but English is the hardest language to learn because it's so flexible. While Japanese has a reputation for multiple meaning from one character, Park said that English has similar words and nearly the same definition, and that can make English to Japanese translation difficult.
Yeah, Jong was part of the our Japanese guest liaisons from 2001 onwards to I think 2006 for it, and I think he moved on to another industry and stuff after anime and stuff. He just moved on and stuff for it, but yeah, he did many series, and then getting back to Taka and stuff. He has been a lot. I mean, he is the gold standard for if you were bringing over a Japanese guest. I cannot begin, but even more than Kevin, Taka has probably been to more anime conventions here in North America. It's got to be almost 1,000 that he's already that he's attended through the years and stuff for providing translation service for Japanese guests. He's always there at Anime Expo, but he's always I believe and stuff. He's always gone up to Fanime almost every year and stuff, as well as Otakon has had him and stuff. For a great individual. I got to meet him because we had a mutual, Taka and I have a mutual real appreciation for one anime series that came out in the late 80s called Legend of the Galactic Heroes for it. And then, thankfully and stuff in 2001, we're one of the few conventions that actually had a Galactic Heroes panel and stuff in 2001 and stuff, but that'll be for the 2001 report. So, but I was just honored and really pleased and stuff that Taka had made the trip up here from California to us. So even though we didn't have a Japanese guest, he was just curious to see what was going on and stuff up here to help us and stuff to land a Japanese guest here later, which we were able to do in 2001. So.
All right, and now we're heading to Sunday. I actually didn't know what Taka's name was for like the longest times because I always referred to him as like the guy with the ukulele because I always saw him like carrying around a ukulele with him all the time.
Yes, very unassuming, great guy, stuff. Really calm really calm personality and stuff for things. So yeah.
All right, so here's our final look at SakuraCon costumers.
Project and Disco, a few others here.
Pretty Sammy.
I can't think of it. You probably know some of these series and stuff better than I do and stuff now for things. Oh, we do have a Hansen from Nadia, Secret of Blue Water here. That was Tom here on the second page.
Okay, hang on. I actually used to cosplay from Nadia's Secret of Blue Water. I actually commissioned a Hansen for a friend of mine.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, we did a Nadia
That's
skit for Anime Los Angeles. We kind of like did it like the South Pacific parody.
ah, nice.
And it was sad because the MC could not pronounce Rogers and Hammerstein. Hammerstein. Like what's Rogers and Hammerstein? Like I can't anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Let's see if it loads. Yeah, page. Come on, page 4.
Okay, we got Rick Hunter with
couple.
Bound and Do. Got Dota from Sorcerer Hunters. Okay, page 4.
Yeah, on page 4 on the bottom left, that's Rick in the white outfit. That's Rick Wall. He was our head of relations, and he was our desk coordinator and stuff, and one of the founders of BakaCon, SakuraCon. So.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an elf right next to him, but I can't think of what the elf is, and yeah, I don't know and stuff what's on the last page.
Yeah, last page we got Ryoga. Looks like he found his way to SakuraCon finally.
Yeah.
On the last day, and like looks like we got a lot of broken links. Okay, let's see Sunday.
Yeah.
Looks like we got 3 more things. Fans ever spoke about the differences between right and wrong. And just kind of just going through like just all these panels and all these happenings at SakuraCon 2000. This also just kind of felt like a conference for like just anime translation in general.
Well, we had to play to our strengths. Young and NXer were local, regional, so we were able to get them. Dr. Antonio Levy, of course, just drove up 3 hours from Portland, Oregon as a guest, so we were able to get them. So, I mean, you got to, you go with your region, and you got to play to your strengths of what locally we can get to spread that dollar, if you will, for maximum efficiency, so people are entertained as well as because Kevin really can't go to the video, promote the video rooms. That kind of self-explanatory what it is. So the live programming, we got to pull in everybody here that has a speciality or has a niche, and to do panels for it. So. All
right, fan subber ethics. Is there honor among fan subbers? There is among this group. From left to right, they're Mark Marcellet, William Chow, and Sean Kemp. They got together at SakuraCon to talk about the ethical way to handle fan subs, which technically are illegal, but remain a popular way for fans to see shows that are hot in Japan but unreleased outside of Asia. Kemp styles himself as a fan sub or cop. I'm not anti-fan sub, I'm anti-distributing commercial title fan sub, he said. Kemp told how he keeps track of websites which offer fan subs for sale and notes if they are selling titles that are on store shelves. If a fan subber is handling a commercially available show, Kemp emails that person, tells them they need to remove the show from the internet distribution list. If that fan subber doesn't drop the title, Kemp notifies the license holder, and that can lead to a cease and desist order against the fan subber. Wow, we have like our own fan sub vigilantes. As soon as the company is interested in a title, that's when the fan subbing should stop, said Marcellet. In those cases, fan subbers should stop distributing a show, he said. The Rurouni Kenshin series, of course, is the best-known example of a case where a company has warned fan subbers to back off from a title before it has been commercially released. But the panelists noted that some fan subbers don't care whether a show has a North American license holders or not. They want to keep selling those tapes through their websites. Fan subbers defend their practice as a way of spreading the word about a title and generating enthusiasm for a show. You don't want to take away sales from a U.S. company who wants to take money on a project, Chow said. You want to have something of value so people can watch it and be converted over to anime. However, the author notes there's still no way fan subbers, no matter how hard some may try, can keep their work from falling into the hands of bootleggers. We have it so much easier these days.
I don't know, anybody that's born after 2000 just understood this entire panel stuff right now. It's just a foreign concept at all. What the heck is fan subbing? I just watch anime. Now I just turn on Crunchyroll and stuff. It is. They don't even know the history of it. ADV was, started by Matt Greenfield and I forget the president's name, John Ludford. They were fans. They were fan subbers that chose to then start a legitimate business for it and start actually commercially licensing the anime titles and stuff from Japan from it. And then people forget. I remember it stuff. Crunchyroll was posting full-scale pirated movies, and they weren't licensing them, but they were getting scale. And then they chose to go legit after they got enough scale of enough users and stuff watching the anime. After a couple of years, they finally went legit, and they are the forces. They're one of the major legitimate forces, if you will, for streaming anime and stuff across the globe. So it's so easy now and stuff to I don't want to sound like the back of my day type of thing, but really, I mean, it was. We were at that time, anime fandom. We wanted it to be as easy at that time as going to the local Blockbuster video store and being able to find all the anime for it. The same anime that was being released in Japan, we wanted it to be available easier at your local video store or retail outlet here in America or Canada that it was in Japan. And now and stuff, I mean, now you have global launches, releases, and stuff things. You have your American movies now, or at least globally. They already have. When they do a global release, it's not just the English translation. It's all the some of the dubs and stuff are done concurrently with the filming of an English movie now, and all the other industries, other places across the globe are the same thing. China and stuff has their China release and stuff of a movie, but it's already being dubbed at the same time in English, or English or Spanish or Portuguese. Or French, to be released. So it's a completely different world and stuff, entertainment-wise. And I think for the better, for the most part, because of how easy it is to get it. But unfortunately, some titles that have been released on VHS or DVD, the titles are lost, or they haven't come to streaming and stuff yet for it. So it's still good to hold on to physical media. For it, especially for the old crews and stuff for it. So keep those PlayStation 2s or PlayStation 3s alive and humming, or Xbox 360s, or your just standard DVD player, because it's good to still have that medium and stuff, rather than be beholden by a streaming service that can lose the rights to it or just not show it and stuff anymore. So, but let's get back to going to the industry and stuff, and let's go to something that I'm really extremely was proud of for our third year, is that we were the first and only anime convention in North America to get, before the merger with Square, to get Enix when it was an independent company. They had just set up in Seattle the year beforehand. They had, in late '99, Enix of Japan, which is best known as the video game company for Dragon Quest, one of the best-selling video game in Japan for all time, this series. Set up a North American operations here in Seattle to be able to sell their games here in the United States and Canada for it. And we were the first convention and stuff that they came publicly to, and stuff, a non-gaming convention, specifically E3. They would go to E3 and stuff, but we were the first non-gaming conventions that they came to talk about their products. So let's get into what they talked about here.
Yeah, let's go. All right, let's talk about the Enix panel on Sunday. Is this a face that sold 1 million games? If you're into scrolling console action games, it is. This plush slime is one of the cutest characters from the Dragon Quest series of games from Enix of Japan. You can't easily buy this slime in North America, but Enix is thinking about bringing these toys across the Pacific. According to Andrew Stein-Leff, and marketing director for the American arm of Enix, and John Lawrence Wright, the product manager, fans at the Enix panel were anxious to learn what the company would release in 2000. But the pair wasn't talking. However, Lawrence had some hints. If we were to release new games, I think we'll start with a clean slate, Lawrence said. We will do what we can to bring the otaku to us, Steins added. Expect those games to be translations of Enix. And Enix Japanese titles, of course. The Enix pair had some demos of games not sold in the US, including a drumming pattern matching game that seemed like a cross between Bust a Move and Simon. I think I know what they're talking about. A vegetable growing simulation that features monsters who eat vegetables and then must cross an obstacle course. and the Valkyrie Profile fantasy fighting game that was released in Japan in December. There are also previews of the next version of Dragon Quest, which looks to add a third dimension to console scrolling games. I think we're at the beginning of the video game. I think we're at the beginning of the video game media," said Lawrence. "We have not reached that golden age. What about the recently released Sony PlayStation 2 and the success of the original PlayStation platform used for most Enix games? It depends on how fast the developers start using the new machine," Stein said. "There's still life left in the PlayStation." Okay, we are at our last. Go on.
Yeah, that's one thing from our convention. For our third year, we had an anime company with Animego. We had a manga company with Dark Horse, and we had a gaming company with NX, Japanese. So it just I felt and stuff. With Kevin coming showing that SoccerCon firmly put himself on the map as to someplace that the industry, the fans and stuff would come to, and fans of their products of the companies to come to and to find out. So I just. It was very. The staff was immensely happy and stuff that we were able to convince them to come. So it's just all good.
Great. Okay, and down to our last section here. Finally,
before we get into this, there was Kevin's going to recount something here that happened during the convention that was nearby the convention that was kind of let's just say startling, that we had to go into a lockdown. So when we get to that part, you'll go ahead and read that part, and then I'll elaborate what kind of more from what Kevin had said and stuff from that. So you'll understand it when you get to it. So. Go ahead.
All right. I'm kind of curious now. Oh, boy. All right. SoccerCon author's notes. On the day of the Super Bowl in January, this page got an email from a person who was just wondering why you guys don't have virtually anything on Sakura, BakaCon. Funny face, funny emoji from the late 90s, early 2000s. I love this con. I've gone to it in the past few years, and I think you should have something on it too. The answer is...
That wasn't me. I sent a formal letter and stuff to Kevin and stuff for it, so that was somebody else that was attending the convention. I just want to say so. Go ahead.
All right. The answers can be found on a calendar and a map. In previous years, the Seattle Area Convention was on the same date as Anime Central, which is near Chicago and, about 1,500 miles closer to the author's home. The shorter trip was the easier trip, and that's where the author went, but always hoping there would be no date conflicts. In 2000, that finally happened, which is why this page attended SoccerCon and FanimeCon for the first time. Fans who say conventions are getting too large would have liked SoccerCon. It was held in a 2-story DoubleTree Inn that was more like a large roadside inn than a major hotel, no elevators, and lots of wood. The facility was small to the point of being cramped. That required the convention to limit the number of fans who attended. Each morning at 9, hopeful fans lined up to get the 101-day passes. Each morning a few didn't get in. Convention officials never publicized this, but they decided not to turn back anyone who drove a long distance to the convention. Those fans who showed up got in were very enthusiastic, as messaged by the number of customers, lots of them before 10 a.m. every day. The family attraction of Anime Convention was also shown by the number of parents who brought their babies to SoccerCon for the day. SoccerCon promised a larger hotel for 2001 and a later date the last weekend of April. The author always makes note of how pleasant anime conventions are when compared to depressing things that happen in the real world. He planned to work in a comment about the explosive demolition of the big Kingdom Sports Stadium 1 week before the convention. How many parents who complained about the violence on television took their children downtown to witness the ultimate violent act? However, other things that were jaw-droppingly strange, other than the sun coming out in Seattle for the convention weekend, and weirdly linked to the author's trip. On Sunday afternoon, the author took a rare stroll out of the hotel and found Tukwila police cars surrounding the jewelry store down the street. Yellow crime scene tape blocked the parking lot, and the store's front door had its glass blown out. All police would say was something about a dissatisfied customer. Buzz at the convention was that a gunshot had blown the glass at the jewelry store and the person with the gun had run away, but fortunately not into the convention hotel. According to the Post Intelligencer's website, it was more than a dissatisfied customer. It was an attempted armed robbery by three men, two of them armed with handguns. One shot was fired, and one of the holdup men was injured, and all three suspects were arrested after a chase by the police. All of this happened around the same time as SakuraCon's closing ceremonies. And did you want to
That
also?
was a wild morning, let me tell you.
Oh, do tell!
So, I was mainly in the dealer's room and stuff in the morning when that happened. I was needing there, but the hotel staff informed me. I want to say, closing ceremonies was at 3, so this was right around noon. I don't know. Kevin's, he must have walked out as across the street. There was a Target, then there was a small restaurants and stuff there in the strip mall and stuff forward to the south, and that's where the jewelry hotel officials and stuff there had been armed robbery, just 400 yards away from our hotel, and the hotel then went on lockdown for it. We weren't letting anybody in and out then, for that, just for everybody's safety. For it, that we had to we kept up for about an hour until we got contacted by police saying that they chased the perpetrators and they finally caught them after they had chased them down in the car. So it was very apprehensive. We didn't, and we chose not to. We went on lockdown and we didn't tell people why. We just told them and stuff. It was your safety and stuff. Because the exhibitors were looking to when the dealer's room starts getting light on people and it's Sunday, they want to start, okay, and I'm not going to make any sales then. Let me start breaking down the booth then so I can start loading up the cars. And we couldn't let them do that, because they potentially could get shot if they go outside and go into their vehicles. So we had to, so we had to wait and stuff till we got the all clear from the hotel and the police, and then we were able to open things up. But that's our drive. My first year running across the street. So, crime is crime, whatever the decade you have. But to my knowledge, Sakura has never facility since, and I hope that continues well into the future. But that was a good pucker. That could have turned out very badly if perpetrators there and stuff ran to his or the hotel to plead. Could have turned out very differently and stuff of things. So very thankful for that. But not many people that kind of conventions can say is that there's been a few conventions that have had a major crime incident happen, unrelated to the convention, but it just happened. The crime took place at the convention. Where thankfully there's not, to my knowledge and stuff, there's been no shootouts, for anything. But we've had. I know some cars that crashed into, inadvertently have crashed into a building and stuff really close for things. But it just we want safe. People go to a place to escape the world and have fun for a weekend. And thankfully we were able to uphold that and stuff for things. But that was just not on our bingo card to have happen and stuff for things. So let's continue then with what Kevin and stuff said. Unless you have any other questions for me.
No such questions, but I'm glad everyone ended up being safe in the end and the perpetrators were arrested.
Yeah, just wild. That was a wild Sunday way to end that Sunday and stuff for things.
Oh, definitely. All right, beyond that, the author's connecting flight was on Northwest Airlines from Memphis to Seattle. Around that same time was that Airbus Air 320 airliner left Memphis. A Northwest Boeing 757 left Seattle for Memphis. When that flight arrived in Memphis, a man jumped out of the pressurized heat section of the cargo hold used for pets and ran away. No one caught him. Back in Seattle, no one could figure out how the man broke through airport security to get to the ramp and climb into the cargo hold, something routinely done by a ramp workers with packed baggage. Another odd coincidence, and this is one's a bit of a stretch. Anime conventions are linked to Japanese culture, of course, and SakuraCon had delightful displays of that culture with the Yushin Daiko and Takakoto concerts. Another part of Japanese culture is the literally volcanic nature of terrain during the convention. Mount Usu erupted several times. The only part of the continental United States to have a volcano erupt in recent years was, you guessed it, the Pacific Northwest, where Mount St. Helens blew up in 1980, 7 weeks short of 20 years before SakuraCon was held. Mount St. Helens was just south of Mount Rainier, the mountain that dominates the southern Seattle skyline. The gap left by the eruption of St. Helens' southern face was clearly visible when the author's airline's flight approached Seattle. A couple weeks before SakuraCon, the author went to a high school basketball game, curious to see if things had changed in a year since the author was of high school age. It was a striking experience. The crowd was a lot smaller than the author remembered. Also, most kids in the crowd were adults. High school kids were a minority at their own event. In its own way, the basketball game was very much like the science fiction convention that the author attended last year, where most of the fans had gray, thinning hair. Some people in the author's home are worried about the declining crowds at high school basketball games, but that goes to show that things have changed in an era of 75 channels on cable TV, 200 channels from a small satellite dish, a half dozen video game systems, shopping centers that resemble theme parks, and a dozen movies in one theater. Old-fashioned basketball can't match up. Anime conventions are part of that change. The mainstream mundanes can't understand the appeal of the cartoon subculture, but the youth of America certainly understand enough that conventions have popped up from coast to coast in the last few years. SakuraCon serves as a good example of what young people really want, and how they'll achieve it no matter what the old minds think. And guess what? We're the old folks now.
Yes, so we are definitely the elder statesmen and stuff on that. So, and I'll just say some quick stats here from Sakura 2000. So there was 866 people attended. That was a 57% growth from 553 of BakaCon 99. We had what was it? 12 exhibitors, 8 North American guests, 34 staff, 34 people on staff. We had three theaters there playing 24-hour anime. We had the 3 live programming panels, and we had 2 we had 1 role-playing game and 1 card game rooms and stuff for anime card game rooms. So those are kind of the stats and stuff for us. That's the recap there from SakuraCon 2000, the last fan convention that was held at the Doubletree Inn, which was finally demolished in the 2000s. Is now the property is either the parking garage for the South Center Mall, or it's the Cheesecake Factory restaurant that has taken over that space. So
I've actually ate at that Cheesecake Factory restaurant with a friend of mine, and we were actually having a conversation of like, yeah, I'm going to this convention called SummerCon, and I can't pronounce the name of the town for the life of me. It's like Pull-Up. I don't know. You probably know better than I do.
which convention?
It's called Washington SummerCon. The name of the city starts with a
it's
P.
Puyallup. It's Puyallup.
Okay. Yeah, I can't. Some of these names I can't pronounce for the life of me.
The national. We have a lot of in football and stuff. There's a lot of NFL players and stuff that used to come from that. So people would pronounce it Puyallup for it. So it's south of it's east of Tacoma, southeast and stuff of Seattle. That's where Washington State. It's on the fairground. That's our big Washington State Fair. That's what fairgrounds is. So there's some amusement rides, roller coasters, bumper cars, those type of rides there. But there's a big exhibitors hall there and stuff for displaying various types of food or various exhibits and stuff of other industries come there and stuff for holding trade fairs. So that's where it's at.
Yeah, because usually whenever I fly in to Seattle, I usually stop by South Center Mall. I just get my getaway Tesla and just head over to like South Center, because Cheesecake Factory, they're open till 11. I usually fly in later in the evening, and that's like one of the few places that's open late at night. Like, wow, like if that was like where SakuraCon 2000 used to be, like, wow, like my mind is blown.
Yeah. It truly that whole area and stuff. There's just not many hotels there. I mean, there's a new hotel that or no suite that moved in there, but it's still that they don't have any function space in it. So it's just more for people coming and going. really like what a hotel, what hotels are. But,
Yes, speaking of the
most,
Pacific
most of the function
Northwest.
space is up at SeaTac, so.
Yeah, because I remember I actually staff at Northwest Idol Fest last October. The hotel was at SeaTac. I'm trying to remember what hotel it was. I think it was the DoubleTree. It was a really nice venue space. Like we had like enough meeting rooms to run like a really small convention. I know they used to host like My Little Pony conventions back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I just remember I really liked the venue. I like that there was like a lot of nature because one of the things I really like about the Pacific Northwest that we don't have a lot of here in suburban California, the suburbs of LA is like all the trees, all the nature, and like that always just like peace of mind because I feel like I'm meant to be in the lakes, I'm meant to be in the trees.
Yeah, that's why we love it up here. And boy, I'm thankful this summer, with all the, soaring temperatures across the rest of the North American continent. For it, we've only had I think 4 90-degree days versus the rest of the nation, which has just been sweltering on 100 degrees on up. Temperatures and stuff throughout the year. It's just like, oh, I'm thankful, very thankful to live up here. I can definitely put up with the. We had a really gloomy winter, even though we didn't get that much rain. It was just kind of, just overcast a lot of the time, so not a lot of sun. And boy, I noticed that getting older, I get vitamin D deficient if I don't see enough sun, so I need to take supplements and stuff for things because you definitely need, it definitely affects your mood if you don't get enough sunlight, for things. But you don't want that oppressive heat to go with it.
Oh, definitely. Or just be like me and just I know during the pandemic, during lockdown, when we were indoors most of the time. I just upped my vitamin D intake, so more spinach, more mushrooms in my diet.
Oh, I'm glad and stuff that some people's taste buds and stuff can go with fungus and stuff for it. But I'm not one of them, unfortunately. So I can't stand this stuff. So I'll just take my vitamin D supplements or eat peppers, bell peppers.
Oh, there you go. I love bell peppers, especially when you
Yeah.
add like the bell peppers with rice in it. Like that's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's where I get that's where I get my natural vitamin D and stuff things. So, but no, thank you so much, Erie and stuff again and stuff for doing this and stuff to honor Kevin and to take a fun trip back down and stuff memory lane, especially for me and stuff. Which during my 20s, anime fandom, that was my way to volunteer and stuff. But felt it was very mission based and stuff for me. That I was helping promote a foreign country's entertainment industry here in America, North America and stuff, and to and grow it. To make it as easy to be able to be consumed as it is today and stuff for it. So to be a part of that. So and met a lot of people, incredible people, from staff on that I'm still friends with, and electric connections all throughout the country and stuff for things. So thank you and stuff again for doing this.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being a part of Fansview Fridays, and maybe in the future if we cover, when we cover SakuraCon 2001, love to have you back.
I would be honored and stuff because that one is one of probably my most special one outside of my first one being that I was the convention chairman for that one for it. So that's my baby, and that's the only that year is unique is because we were held in a hotel for only 1 year. That hotel is now has been demolished and stuff as well. For it, so a lot of unique firsts and stuff with 2001. But for all the Kevin and stuff, thankfully came religiously. I think 2007 was the last, or was he finally took a break from. But I believe Kevin came for 5 years in a row when I was involved with the convention there from 2000 2004. So very very happy to do that. Very happy to come back and stuff here and do that. And Kevin came up here, and then the next year Lionel joined him and stuff. And he came up for the first time for SakuraCon 2001 as well. So it was nice that we had both the big convention people covering and stuff here. Now, if only we got Baba Roshi from Rising Sun Entertainment at the time, 25 years ago. He was kind of the third big person at that time, along with Lionel and Kevin. That was covering anime conventions. He was based out of Florida, so he was covering all the ones in Florida and Georgia and I believe Alabama and stuff is where his where his focus and stuff was on anime fandom and stuff at
Yeah,
the time.
he only did Anime Expo, I think, once, and that was in 2002. His
Yes.
website is also defunct, but luckily I saved a lot of the photos he took at Anime Expo '02.
Yeah, okay. If I could just take one photo, go back in time, it would be the 2002, because I was in the lobby with all three, and I introduced actually Mobaroshi to both Kevin and Lionel at the time. We happened to be all in the hotel lobby at the same time, so I introduced them to the other two, and then all three of them together were taking photos. And I wish I could have taken the photo of the three of them together with their cameras up, blocking their faces, taking pictures of the cosplayers. That's the one photo I would love to go back in time and snap a shot with all three of them together, because all three of them have done an immense job. I'm so thankful for them for chronicling anime history, fandom history and stuff specifically and so forth. So that would be the one shot and stuff I could make. It would be that one.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Isaac. Thank you so much for helping us preserve the memories of Fansview, the memories of Kevin Lillard, because I just want to just rescue like all his reports as best as I can from webarchive.org so that they'll never be lost. And I just want fandom to know that like this is just a part of our history, and we need to appreciate what we have now, because like back then, like it wasn't as easy as like, okay, I'm gonna go on Crunchyroll and I can watch this. Like it wasn't. But I'm just glad what we have now, and it's just really interesting just kind of just look back and just kind of see how good we have it now.
Oh yeah. They don't need to worry about it. They just look for entertainment. Boom, it's there. Start watching for it. I love the convenience factor and stuff that we have with all these streaming services now. For it, whether they're free or whether paid. I mean, it's just great stuff that the content is easily accessible, and to be able to watch subtitled or the great thing and stuff is switching between them, whether if you want to watch it in its native Japanese or if you want to just watch the dub now, and the quality of the dubs and stuff are very, very good moving forward. So it's just great.
Okay, this has been another edition of Fansview Fridays. Thank you much again, Isaac, for joining us, and we look forward to having you on our SakuraCon 2001 show. We'll be back next week. We'll cover another Otakon. I know Otakon is happening right now in DC. Wish we could be there. We wish we could be there this weekend, but we're still kind of burnt from San Diego Comic-Con. And if you're tuning in live, we will be talking about San Diego Comic-Con tomorrow, Saturday at 9 o'clock Pacific time. And with that said, thank you again everyone for joining us. If you're just joining us now on the Wisteria Witch's Cottage, please give us a follow. If you like what we do, definitely give us a subscription, or you can donate to our Ko-Fi, or if you're feeling generous, after all, it is my birthday month, you can go ahead and buy me a present on my throne wish list. And with that said, again, thank you so much for joining us at the Wisteria Witch's Virtual Cottage, and we will see you at the con.
Awesome. Thank you again.